Good afternoon, and today we have a pleasure of interviewing Dr. Dana Corriel. She's a founder of SoMeDoc. And interestingly enough, we're going to be talking about presence of medical professionals on social media. That's a topic that's very close to my heart, how doctors can show their expertise without losing credibility. And what are the secrets? Because Dr. Dana Corriel, she found the company to make individual expertise to shine. What you don't need the institution, what's gonna promote your expertise or make you visible to public. And she also shaped a lot of health brands. And especially in the digital world, she's absolutely fantastic designer. She organized, in addition to everything she does, she organized wonderful symposiums where the medical professionals can show their expertise and talk on a very hot topic like menopause and sleep. And there are a lot of it you can check on SoMeDoc website. And also, she worked with a lot of influencers in the medicine world, and she shared her expertise on the Medscape and medical economics. So she writes, but on top of it, her very super skill is a digital design and a growth ideas and community building. That's very important for individual medical professional to have a community or community of like-minded individual or people who listen to them to have the expertise shown. So my first question to you, how you come up with the idea? What was the origin before building SoMeDoc?
My origin story, first of all, hi, and nice to see everyone. And my origin story is fairly complex. To really simplify it, I was a practicing physician, practicing not far from my home in internal medicine. And I recognized just how many things were broken in healthcare. One of those things that were broken was that the society at large was getting their health information from the wrong people, from online spaces, and there were physicians that were missing from that space. And so I felt like there needed to be a bigger push for actual credentialed voices to be out there and to speak up with evidence-based medicine. And then over the years, my role really has evolved along with my company to first just give us a community to vent and to speak and to collaborate to what it is now, which is a big all nine venture. You can find it at doctorsonsocialmedia.com, where we're actually, promoting the individuals in healthcare to help doctors like you and I who get stuck or who want help in all kinds of different ways. So that's the nutshell.
But I want to ask you more specific question. I notice as a practicing physician, what people come to me with the knowledge. They really trust social media more than they trust specific physicians. Yeah, there is truth in that. I don't disagree with that. But my question to you, how medical professionals can become part of SoMeDoc and share their expertise through your outlet?
Well, my outlet does things that are very unique and I've built tools on the site that are very unique. So first, my advice always to every individual that comes in front of me is that they have to build out like their own voice, right? You have to have your own voice defined before you come to a large ecosystem like SoMeDocs to say, okay, this is who I am and this is what my voice stands for. Now let's amplify this. So it's not just any, person off of their exam room comes in and says, okay, I'm ready. You have to actually give it thought beforehand before you're ready to be amplified. Now, we're there for you for that as well. We have a community. We have all kinds of resources where when you join, you can get ideas, you could look around, you could do research, and you can decide at your own pace what it is that you want to do. And then when you're ready for that, we have all kinds of different ways to showcase you. One of those ways you touched on, and Dr. Sokolina, you're also part of it. One of those ways is just lecturing to our audience, is, coming with your knowledge base and your specific expertise and lending that to our audience in curated ways. I curate conferences based on topics. So we recently had a sleep conference and you were a faculty member. We have a private practice conference. We have an entrepreneurship conference. We have a menopause conference and an obesity medicine conference. So that's one way. Another way is to take part in our collaborative projects. So things like video collaborations that we're building to really showcase the individuals in healthcare. I'm building a new docu-series that will focus on all kinds of different topics. And we have a series section where you're slotted to come in as a panelist, but we have all kinds of different shows that are made public to an audience. We dub that space like Netflix, but for healthcare, because a user can just click into our site and pick the show that they want to watch. There's all kinds of different ways for people that are involved in our venture to amplify their voices and get seen and get the exposure that they need. And by the way, it doesn't just stop at fighting pseudoscience. You can also, as a medical professional, get online and get seen because you want more patients, right? Maybe you're in private practice and you want more patients. Your bottom line is affected. But also maybe you want to do other things. You want to become a speaker. You want to get paid for speaking. You want to write a book. There's so many different opportunities out there. And why should your average influencer get those opportunities and not us, the educated cohort of society? Why can't we do that? But do it with, the professionalism and respect and evidence base.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing to say. And I love it. That's true. What a lot of public listen to the influencer who actually more consumer rather than, presenter, I would put it. But that's true. But I want to ask a question about medical professional. Let's say somebody, starting this pathway. They don't know their voice. That was me at one point. So tell me, for somebody who graduating from school, I think that's the hardest time for professional. When you're graduating from school, yes, you got the knowledge. Let's say it might be modern knowledge, or it might be a little bit outdated knowledge or basic knowledge. And here you are.
Well, the people that are graduating now, for the most part, they are well aware of social media and how to use it, which helps to some degree. We at SoMeDocs, we have a community that's filled with people on both ends of that spectrum. We have people that are very savvy on social media and still want to become part of something large and something big because they want to take part in our projects and be seen, even if they are influencers themselves. But then we have the other extreme where it's the older generation that really just doesn't get how social media works. And there's all kinds of resources for them to grow online. So when someone is first entering the world of exposure and saying, how can I dabble? How can I figure out what I'm going to grow? First of all, don't feel pressured. You're going to get there. Secondly, allow yourself time to evolve. You will start out one way and you will end up a different way. And that's true for myself as well. I can tell you that over a decade ago, I had a vision for SoMeDocs and I knew what I was building, and I could never imagine that I was going to build it myself. But here I am. I've built a very large company. I would have never imagined it, but I did have that vision. You don't have to even have a vision. You don't have to have ideas. Of course, ideas matter. You just have to have that understanding that it's going to help you in some way. It's going to help your career. It's going to help you on a personal level, by the way. Being more creative, opening yourself up to opportunities can really enrich your life. So doing that is really important, is allowing yourself to evolve. And then really joining networking communities very much like SoMeDocs, if not SoMeDocs, and paying attention to what others are doing that are like you. Maybe there's a dentist like you, right? That you can find, that you can emulate and look up to and say, oh, she's doing that. Maybe I can do that. But also staying true to yourself and saying, just because someone else is doing it one way doesn't mean that I need to do it that way. You take what they're doing with a grain of salt. You say, I'm going to do this, but I'm going to do it differently. And that's where you can also, by the way, you can stand out from the crowd. We already have our educational degree, so that makes us stand out. But you also want to find a way to make yourself stand out so that your content actually lands and actually connects. So there's a lot on that journey that you have to go through, but take it one step at a time. Join a network like SoMeDocs that can do it really well. And by the way, joining as a US-based healthcare professional is free. So it's literally a no-brainer. And then starting from there.
No, that's nice what you mentioned, because my next question would be, what would be joining for medical or medical professional from economical standpoint? So now for my audience, if you want to join SoMeDocs from after this interview, I highly encourage you. You find a lot of material, but for me personally, I really grow. I'm a design person, I'm very visual person. I grow a lot from studying how Dana does the design portion of SoMeDocs. And yes, I got some ideas, that's true. I'm gonna share my own challenge. When I graduated from dental school from NYU, and even after my residency, all those years, I was looking for mentor. It's very challenging to find the mentor. What I learned, of course, it cannot be one mentor. It does not exist, or at least I think it doesn't exist. You have to find a lot of mentors. And just like you go through the school, you follow the mentor, you follow the mentor, you follow the mentor, you learn the best practices. That SoMeDocs is great on that, because they actually, I would say, from a different perspective, show you those ways. So that's, but I'm going to ask you the question for not medical professionals, for somebody who want to learn about medicine. I can say about true medicine, or I would say evidence-based medicine, how they can enjoy the benefits what SoMeDocs offering.
Yeah. So first of all, they can use it to actually find people that they can follow based on their interests. So they can literally, for example, just go straight into our directories and click into experts and find the experts based on what they need. Not only will they get beautiful digital business cards in front of them that they can open, but they can use the filters to really niche down their searches, so that if they want, let's say they're specifically active on Instagram, but not on other platforms, right? If you just stare at a directory, it doesn't help you, because many of those doctors probably aren't on Instagram. But thanks to our filters, you could literally click onto the Instagram button to find the vetted doctors that are on Instagram that they can then click into and look at. And if they like it, they can follow it. So you can literally have a bunch of digital business cards up based on your search, and you can open each one up and follow them on Instagram, and then, take it from there. The other thing that's more straightforward is that you can actually learn directly on our site. Now, our site is public and the content on it is public, but which means that it doesn't matter who you are. You can learn no matter who you are. And it's interesting. We host regular conferences that are open to the general public, and those specific things, conferences take a lot of work to put together. And so those do usually have a cost associated with them. But I've made sure to really drive down that cost in order to make it affordable and democratize that concept of learning directly from the expert, right? And so instead of having these real life conferences, in-person conferences that cost thousands of dollars and are basically open to doctors, because first of all, they're the ones that are going to take their time to fly somewhere. They're the ones that are going to be able to afford it. Instead of this, right, we have an $80 live ticket that's available to learn about menopause from today's experts so that your average person can come in and learn. It's not just the doctors. So that's the conferences. We also have stuff on our site that's free. We have a magazine that publishes an article each and every day filled with content. You can use filters there too. There's filters that are specific for health topics so that if you're a patient and let's say you're interested specifically in oncology, let's say you're, a loved one has cancer, you could specifically go to oncology and see all the magazine articles that have been written about oncology. We also have a series section, which is, like I said before, like Netflix, but for healthcare. And again, the public can choose the shows that interest them and listen in. Again, SoMeDocs is much more of a professional development platform. The public can certainly use it to find the person, the influencer or non-influencer that they want to follow. And it really helps the doctors themselves to get a bigger following so that, they can grow more opportunities and they can make an impact that's positive with their degrees.
No, I think it sounds so beautiful, and it's a reality of our time. Of course, I also I use social media to, to educate people about my message.
Good for you. I love that.
But a lot of physicians don't do that, I have to admit. And my last question to you, Dana, tell me how you envision, like I'm going to ask you a futuristic question. Now our audience know if you're a medical professional, you can get on a site like SoMeDoc and either join or find the topic what you're curious about and see the experts. But also, if you're looking for visibility, they have a lot of podcasts listed and, networking in this area. A lot of people do that. Some people love to write. I have my book coming up and you have a writer conference. So you have a lot of people who already got through this journey with the book and they want, to share that message. Or if you're looking forward to promote your stuff, you can learn from them also. But my question, how you envision future of medical education and trust in a healthcare over the next decade, envisioning it, I would say, through SoMeDoc, like, platform like SoMeDoc. So that's my question.
I mean, I think that to not mention AI would be to kind of be walking around with a blindfold. I think that AI is going to have a major impact in healthcare. I think that the doctor's role is going to be a different one as we move forward, especially with AI here and making the impact that it has. I think there's a lot of positive benefits to having AI, and I think it's going to help empower our patients, and that's a good thing. We have to make sure that patients are empowered in the right way and not through pseudoscience and false claims. And so I envision a future in which the medical professional serves a role as more of a guide and a coach rather than what we used to be in the past, which was kind of like the buck stopped with us. It was like what we said went. I think patients are much more empowered nowadays and, are willing to sort of make their own decisions and come to doctors for guidance because they know that we've had our education, our experience, and that's something that no AI can replace. Well, eventually they might. They're trying to. So again, I think the future is not necessarily a grim one. It's just a different one. We're going to evolve based on the technology that is being implemented in healthcare.
No, I like that. I actually want to mention what SoMeDoc has, or at least I met some professionals who are very much into AI, and they have symposium on AI and healthcare. So for medical professionals who are interested into futuristic approach, so you have a lot of AI.
We have an AI section. Exactly. We have an AI, we have a big WhatsApp community, and we have an AI WhatsApp room. And we also had a first annual AI conference. We may bring it back depending on interest.
Thank you very much. I highly recommend, if you are a medical professional, at least explore SoMeDoc site or hopefully join. And we discussed with Dana, it's going to be future conference involving dentistry and maybe microbiome dentistry connecting with the functional medicine, or airway dentistry connected to treatment of sleep apnea. It's all in our plans. So please check SoMeDoc. And thank you very much, Dana, for sharing your expertise. And very sincere thank from me personally for creating such an outlet. I think you're doing an amazing job, and so much curation and attention to details you put into that. So I personally have to express my admiration to your project.
I really appreciate that. Thank you.